Welcome to the Group Home Riches YouTube channel. Today, I'm with the founder of Group Home Riches, Mr. Andy Rothschild, and we are going to kind of answer one of those frequently asked questions. This will probably answer about two questions, actually. So one, if you're thinking about investing in real estate, why would you do group homes and shared housing and co-living instead of just being a traditional landlord? And this will also kind of give guidance to a lot of you people out there that are looking to work with landlords. So we're going to kind of put you in a landlord's footsteps today, kind of show you kind of a maybe not a typical day in the life, but things that actually come up, the real life, the real deal, and showing you what these landlords that you guys are out there pitching, and we're going to show you what they're actually dealing with, so you can put yourself in their shoes. And what better of a person to do that with than Mr. Rothschild? Andy, welcome.
Yo, I'm here.
Before we kind of get into the nitty gritty, and I mean really nitty gritty, why don't you give the folks just a quick background on your real estate experience? You're just a
Yeah.
landlord with a couple properties, a newbie, or what is that like?
Yeah. Okay. So number one, I've been doing this for over 25 years. So I've got a little bit of experience. I didn't start with, people giving me 100 grand and saying, go buy a property or anything like that. So all of this was built from the ground up. My first deal in Dallas was a $58,000 condo that I lived in, got a roommate. I think I bought it for about 2,500 bucks down. Did another one the same way, another one the same way. When I say same way, I wasn't living in it, but another condo. Eventually, I think I sold, I don't know, four of those things, 1031 them into a number of houses, and I had bought some more houses along the way. And yeah, there's issues the whole time. I had no background in real estate. I didn't have any quote unquote formal training. Although the funny thing is, if you get formal training in real estate, you're skipping through all that bullshit, and you're probably going to be like a financial analyst or something like that, working for a big company buying apartment buildings. And that's not that's not really boots on the ground training. For the most part, I've seen it all, including, periodically you try to do your best with underwriting people. And, again, you're dealing with humans, you're dealing with human beings. And these people, again, they're human beings. They will trash the living, excuse my language, out of your properties periodically. That's just the way that it goes. Stuff will happen. So I think today, none of this is scripted. Brandon and I don't have even really much of an agenda. Brandon just said, hey, let's get on YouTube and show them kind of the differences between running regular rentals or apartment buildings or whatever and running group homes. And so I think that's what we're doing.
Absolutely. And you mentioned people trashing the place. We're gonna give you guys a walkthrough of that. Before we get into that, so that was about 20 something years ago, and you've kind of scaled that out. We don't have to get into specifics, but you have, it's well over 100 doors at this point, right?
Multiple hundreds of, yeah. And I don't mean to be, pounding there's guys that have got 15,000 units and all. I'm not at that point, but yeah, I've got multiple hundreds of houses, doors, notes, stuff like that. And basically, yeah, it's just me. And then in some cases I have like a few partners. So it's not like I'm running a fund or anything.
Beautiful. So for the folks out there that are, just starting out, they're thinking about getting into real estate. Maybe we have a couple struggling landlords that are watching this and wondering, hey, why can't I get, four or five properties that are cash flowing $500 per month and retire on the beach? I think
Not going
this
to happen.
yeah, so you can relate to this, right? So this is an older post on biggerpockets.com.
Yeah. Back when you could
So
actually get deals.
well, even back then, I mean, now they're actually being very realistic and they're saying that, that rentals don't cash flow anymore, which is, I
they,
think
they,
that's good.
they, they quit lying to people.
Yeah, but this is a real estate agent and this is the advertised price, right? So how often does the real estate advertised price hold up? And I want to show you guys out there listening, this is the advertised price, okay? So best case scenario, once you get this property, you fix it up, you have your capital lined up, you figure out construction, you figure out how to do rehab, you get that team together. I'm glossing over this, quickly, but all of those things could take a year or two, even if you hustle, right? So then at the end of the day, you're doing all that work to cash flow. Best case scenario, $250 per month. That's the best case. So I don't think that real estate investing in rentals and multifamilies is a bad strategy, but it depends on who the person is. If you're doing this, if you're watching this and looking for cash flow, Andy, would you suggest someone that's kind of new into real estate investing, trying to get out of the rat race? Do you think that buying and holding is a good strategy for that?
No, no, absolutely not. In fact, the single most important thing that you can do right off the bat, at least this is the way that I viewed the world back then, was I needed to find a vehicle that could get me out of the rat race and allow me to ladder up in life. And when I say ladder up, continue expanding my monthly income. Why? Because if I had the monthly income to pay for my overhead, my food, my rent, my mortgage, car insurance, so on and so forth, that would set me free. And again, you buy one rental property, you buy two, three, four, five, it doesn't matter. It's not going to get you to the point, because most people now, even if you're in quote unquote flyover country, you need, as a single individual, you need 4, 5, 6 grand a month to live.
Now, we'll get into details a little later on in the video. We'll show why, this low number isn't realistic. But back in the day, what was your ticket out of the rat race? Was it those rental properties?
It wasn't. I thought that it was going to be the rentals at the beginning. I'd read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I said, this is what I'm going to do. And I started buying these things. And, I'd have a string of good months, and then boom, snap of a finger, all my money would be eviscerated. And so, as I like to say, the real estate rental game, the actual income is very evasive. It's very evasive. You think you're making it, you're not making it. So what actually, my primary goal, and you guys have probably heard this on some of these podcasts that we've done. My goal back in the day, I'm a big believer in writing down your goals. My goal every day was, I wrote down my goal, $4,000 a month. That's what I wanted to make. And I put that up, but I had a poster board above my bed, $4,000 a month. And maybe to some of you that sounds like a lot, maybe to other people that doesn't sound like anything, but that was my goal. And you know what, guys, I don't think I ever got there for the first 6 or 7 years running regular rental properties. And then all of a sudden I kind of hear about group homes, because I think I had people coming over to try to rent properties from me that were that were group home operators. And I started kind of sniffing around. I'm like, this business model makes sense. And I had already been converting my garages. So I had already been enclosing my garages, and I'd gone the Section 8 route. And, so I could command a premium rental amount for these properties. Plus I was getting an extra bedroom because I was converting the garages. But then I was like, I got to try this other thing out. So I started running these things as group homes. And basically just 2 beds to a room. That's what we called them back then. Now you have a lot of private equity companies that are in the business. You have a lot of venture capitalists that are in this business, a lot of high-level entrepreneurs that are in this business because it makes sense. So they've kind of changed the name up. So they don't necessarily call them group homes anymore. Now they might call them shared living environments, co-living environments, transitional homes. Brandon, you probably know a bunch of the other names more than I do. But anyways, it was a moneymaker. And so I got one home and I started making, like, right off the bat, $2,500 a month. And I stuck with it, and I wanted to make sure that, hey, is this money actually legit, or am I going to get washed out? And guess what? Lo and behold, I didn't get washed out. I mean, the money was very consistent. Set up another one. Boom. Now I'm up to $5,000 a month. A couple months later, set up another one. And when I say set them up, I was basically just waiting for leases to expire on these properties that I owned and then turning them into group homes. And literally within the first year, I mean, I probably had, $8,000 a month of net rental income. And that was with somebody else running the business. Yeah, it was very impactful for me. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and guys, he kind of glossed over it. Pulling up our gold course. You guys can see actual P&L statements inside our gold course. I have that pulled up on screen, but Andy glossed over it. But this is powerful. Okay, so give or take on average, you would say probably, and again, I've seen the P&Ls, but it's about 10x the typical cash flow
Yes.
of a rental property.
Yes. And on that deal right there, that is a deal that, yeah, that will cash flow $250 a month. But guess what? You have to pay for that free and clear for it to cash flow $250 a month. Oh, I guess that's 2 properties. So
Yeah, it's two properties.
yeah. So I'd have to look at this and actually kind of figure out if those numbers are legit or not. They're
I doubt
probably
it.
legit. That's about that's $125 a month per property.
Yeah, and again, this is the best case scenario, guys.
It's best case scenario. That assumes that everything over there, your hot water heater is new. I mean, I can send you guys a boatload of pictures right now that I've just gotten in the last 24 hours. I mean, again, none of this stuff is scripted, but let me just look at my work phone. There was a windstorm the other day in Central Texas. Okay. So I'm asking these people, because I'm still actively involved, right? I mean, it goes to my frontline people, then they kind of send it over to me. And then if it looks like something I need to get involved with, I get involved. So I texted these people, hey, what's going on with, with that tree that just fell down on that house? Is it leaking, or can we call the insurance company on it? So I'm just trying to, honestly, I'm delaying more than anything else. And the lady says no leaks as of yet, so no worries on that for the moment. Here's another one that came in that got forwarded over to me from my assistant. Issues with the bathtub, water is still running, blah, 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 after I shut the valves off. I'm pretty sure we sent the plumber over there the other day. So this stuff is never ending, guys. And so that $125 a month that you think you're making, you're not making it, because something will pop up, whether it's an issue with the property or whether it's an issue with the tenant. Right? So you have all these variables outside of your control, versus with the group homes. The nice thing about it is that you've got a manager that's in the property actively overseeing everything on a daily basis, including all the fixtures, all the furniture, all the BS inside the property, and they're overseeing the tenants that are in there as well. So
Let's go into that. You talked about just a couple recent texts
yeah,
that are eating into your cash flow. Let's see how, look, let's be honest, you're typically going to be losing money in cash flow with the rentals.
you will. And funny enough, I mean, again, none of this is scripted, so I want you to kind of tell me what you want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, let's show them. Let's show them. Like you can't even describe
Oh
this.
my God, I remember this property. Yeah, this
Yeah.
thing.
So what's going on here?
Oh my God. Okay. So yeah, this is a perfect one. Let me tell you guys the story on this one. This lady came to us and we underwrote her. And I'm like, she's going to be good. She's got $75,000. I kid you not. I could probably actually pull it up and show it to you. She might have had 90 grand in her bank account. I kid you freaking not. Let me actually pull up, see if I can even find her old application and bank statements. So I'm like, this lady's good to go. She didn't have any rental history, but we're going to be fine with her. She just inherited money because her like father had died or something like that. And next thing I know, she's not making payments. This is probably less than a year later, not making payments. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. This lady had 90 grand. Why is she not making payments? Like, what's going on with her? We go over to the property. She's living there. So I file an eviction. She moves out. I do the eviction anyway, so we don't have to file a writ of possession or anything. But go back and re-show that property. You may want to put it on slow-mo so it's not going super fast. This property was trashed to the high hells. And I actually had thought that I did a good job underwriting this lady. Look at this place, guys. This is a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath. I mean, we've got masks on in there. It was absolutely disgusting. I mean, she had animals in there. There's dog poop. Excuse my language, guys, but I'm going to cuss a little bit. Dog poop all over the place, cat poop everywhere. The place was disgusting. And again, guys, this is 2000, it's 2025 now. This happened, I believe, in 2024. This is not 2012, 13, 14, or better yet, 2005, when I could get this place cleaned up for $1,000, right? I mean, if you have employees and they're all making, $20 an hour now, do the math. You're gonna have 2 guys over there slouching it at $40 an hour. Now assuming they're employees, you're paying your overtime, you're paying your FICA, your FUTA, your SUTA, everything else. They're not getting out of there. They're just not in anything less than 2 weeks. So there's 3 G's right there. Most of the stuff I do, I operate with contractors. I think I probably paid about 4 grand in my guy, but the place got absolutely demolished. This never, ever, ever would have happened if it was a group home. Why? Because how can it get to this level? It can't, because you have somebody overseeing it 24/7. You know what's going on. It's an actual operating business. Versus this thing, the lady's, she's set up on auto pay. She's making her payments, making her payments, making her payments. And while she's making her payments, she's destroying the property. This place is an absolute mess. It's disgusting, but she's still making her payments. And then boom, snap of a finger, she quits making her payments, file an eviction, go over there. The place is disgusting. It's trashed out. And so if you do the math on it, all your money, and I don't even think I owe anything on this property. And you could say, Andy, why don't you have it as a group home? I just don't, I have a lot of these things. So yeah, place is trashed. I mean, look at those blinds over there. Rewind it a little bit. Those blinds are like $30 a pop now. See, they're trashed. Those are brand new blinds. How many blinds do you have in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house with 3 windows in each room, right? So the money just disappears real quickly.
Andy, if you were just starting out and you didn't have those, you have a crew that's been with you for, who
Yeah,
knows how long, and you keep them steady and busy. If you were just starting out and you had a
that's
general
right there.
contractor,
That's a $20,000 repair job because
right?
I mean
So
that's what they're going to bid you. And the average person that's getting into the game, they don't know what it should cost to fix this stuff up. They don't have their people. Maybe they don't speak Spanish. They're going to get their asses handed to them.
So a lot of people, especially, if someone's in the medical field, maybe nursing, and they're looking into this group home thing, they haven't done any research on real estate investing. When you tell them that real estate investors lose money typically, cash flow wise, they don't really get it. But we're showing you guys.
Look, guys, let's put it this way. Hopefully, all you guys make your credit card payments on time. Hopefully, most of you guys don't have any interest that you're being charged. But these are just actuarial things, right? So the credit card companies know that a certain percent of people are going to default and they're not going to pay their credit card bill. They're literally going to walk away from it. This is just human nature. It's how things go. So they have to account for that. And that's why they charge people, 18, 20, 28%. You can say, oh, they're crooks, they're this, they're that. Look, guys, I mean, their net returns are not 28% on those credit card interests. They're not. Now, similarly, if you guys go out there and you rent properties, you could rent one of them and it'll go well. You rent two of them, it'll go well. You could rent 10, you might go 15 for 15. Hell, you might go 20 for 20. But eventually, you're going to make a bad decision, or your tenant is going to make a bad decision, and they're going to destroy the living shit out of your properties. This is just the way it goes. So, again, if you've got a big bag of apples, you got 10 apples, and one of them starts spoiling, it will ruin the entire bunch. Similarly with your rental properties, and actually similarly with your group homes as well. If you've got one bad tenant in a group home with 8 people, they can ruin that entire group home. The beauty of the group home, though, is that you can get that person out immediately.
Yeah, so we showed, and we have a ton of these guys, by the way.
Look at this, guys. I can talk about this one as well. Section 8, apparently the son was going crazy and, lost his temper and blah, 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 and start, just destroy the living, what out of the property. Look at it. I mean, we're talking, there's no doorknobs, there's no light switches, like there's holes all over the place, just trashed beyond belief. Crap all over the walls.
So this is the problem, okay? So not a lot of cash flow to begin with. It's tough to start out too, to invest in real estate. It's not like you guys can just start this. You need the cash or access to capital to get these properties off market and close quickly. You need to find a team to do the rehabs, all that stuff. It's a process, right? So on the flip side, but why would someone do group homes, Andy? So we're showing these kind of nightmare properties. You have your nightmare tenants. I think a lot of people out there are just imagining not just one person in those properties, maybe like 10. Why would someone on the flip side do group homes instead of rental properties?
More cash flow, more control, more, just more ability to have oversight and vision into what's actually going on. Those would be the three reasons I would give.
And are you going to have people that just duck out on payments for a couple of
Yeah.
months and
Yeah.
then
I mean,
chase them down and things like that?
things are going to happen, but it doesn't really matter because you've got supply and demand imbalances. There's nobody doing this. So there's a ton of demand because at the end of the day, guys, people can't afford $1,000 a month. For somebody to comfortably afford $1,000 a month, they actually need to be making easy $3 grand a month. I'm telling you, I know that the average person out there might say, "Oh, $3,000 a month, that's easy." Mark my words, guys. I can show you if I go onto my Appfolio, which is where I kind of handle everything, and you look at these guest cards. Guest cards are like people that are inquiring about a property or rental applications. I'm telling you, most people do not make that amount of money. They don't.
So we have one of the sober living properties. You're getting, I believe it was maybe $600 or $700 per bed in this
Yep.
property. And a lot of those payments are going to be guaranteed either through SSI, SSDI, right? So
Yep.
no hounding those people down for, bounce checks or anything like that.
Hmm.
Um, you also have relationships with nonprofits and social service organizations that are going to be paying you for it.
Yep. Yep.
And, the cash flow is great. Again, guys, remember, you can 10x the cash flow on your properties, but it's kind of counterintuitive. You also have more control over the property. So it's not like you just have, 10, 12, 15 guys in here just tearing up the property like this, right? So me and you, we just walked into this property, broad daylight, right? And look how clean it is. So why don't you talk about like the difference in management? Why are these things easier to control even though there are more people in there?
I think number one, because you're in the property every day. And if you're not in it every day, your people are in it every day. So that's kind of number one. So there's just vision. You know what's going on. You got this stuff on video. I mean, how are you going to, if you have a rental property, how are you going to set up a video camera inside the property? You can't do that. You're not going to be able to do that. And when people are being watched and they know they're being watched, guess what? It's better managed and it's easier to manage. This is your alternative right here. The place just gets, now this is after we actually went in there and well, actually, we didn't do that. The tenants were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna fix this." I mean, look at this, guys. They were breeding pit bulls in the property. How did I know they were breeding pit bulls in the property? I didn't. So the pit bulls are chewing up the floor and everything else. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is
don't
the
worry,
stuff
don't worry, Mr. Andy. We're gonna fix the walls. They don't know how to sheetrock anything. It's a joke.
and this is the stuff you don't find out until like you have to do an
You
eviction,
don't you don't know,
people
right?
move
And you
out,
don't know
right?
until they quit paying rent. You go over there, or potentially there's a Section 8 inspection. You guys want to play the Section 8 game? Boom. You've been getting your payments, even payments at a premium. It sounds pretty good, but you go over there, boom, you're like, what's this? Oh, and then Section 8 quits paying you. It's a nightmare. Again, it's actually a hell of a lot easier, going back to your first question, to manage one group home than 10 rental properties. And that one group home will actually make you the equivalent of, like, again, it's 10x.
Looking back, Andy, if you knew let's say you were just starting out, you didn't have a lot of cash to invest in properties, what would you have done looking back?
I would have just gone out and I would have rented regular houses or duplexes, and I would have set them up as group homes, and I would have operated them.
What's your pitch now that we know what these
Yeah.
landlords are going through? What is your pitch to a landlord as
Well,
if you
it's
want them
actually
to run
very
a group home?
simple. Hey, Mr. Landlord, I know what you're dealing with. I know that you have tenants that aren't paying you rent. I know that you have tenants that are destroying your properties. I know you have trees that are falling on roofs right now, and you're getting calls in the middle of the night. Hey, Mr. Landlord or Mrs. Landlord, I know you've got flappers on your toilets at various properties that are running all the time, and now the water bills at your properties are so high that your tenants aren't making the payments. Like, these are all real things that are happening all the time. The tenants are constantly looking for excuses to not pay. And if you can identify those problems that the landlords are faced with every single day and then show them the alternative is, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Landlord, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay you a premium rent. I'm going to pay you an extra $150 a month, and I'm never going to call you. I'm never going to call you. And I promise to keep the property clean, safe, and tidy. Wow. And by the way, I'll sign a 5-year lease, a 4-year lease, 2-year lease, whatever. That's all the landlord wants to hear. They don't really want to work.
That's
That's why
it in a
everybody's
nutshell.
getting into the real estate game, or was getting into the real estate game, right? Because they're like, wow, this is quote unquote passive income. And the reason why people are getting out of it right now is because they realize it's not passive income. So your job is to go to the landlord and show them how you can actually provide them with passive income. And you're going to do that by operating group homes. And that's literally what we show you how to do.
Yeah, we have a full pitch and show you how to find landlords to work with. But that's it in a nutshell, guy. The pitch is you want to explain to these investors you're going to get more money and you're going to do less work.
Yep.
When you
More
were
money, less work. Yeah.
yeah, when you were just starting out and being a landlord, Andy, isn't that like at the end of the day, that's the end goal, right? So, yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive if you guys are just kind of stumbling onto the page and discovering this stuff. But there are a ton of advantages compared to that traditional buying and holding. So, 10x the cash flow, way more control over the property. So, no evictions or anything like that. Someone breaks the rules, they're out of there. Okay. You can walk in, there's no deferred maintenance like we showed. This is a fancy term. Deferred maintenance is this, meaning you didn't know your tenant was absolutely tearing the property up.
No clue. Yeah. No clue.
Nothing like that, right? And on top of that, if you guys are doing your networking property, establishing relationships with nonprofits and social service organizations in the area, or getting people that are on SSI, SSDI, there's no chasing these people down for checks every month. They're just guaranteed checks.
Yeah. There's no chasing them down for money. That is such a valuable point.
Yeah, either directly or indirectly from the government. So if you're just starting out, you don't have a lot of money to invest, that's our strategy we recommend to the majority of people is either lease from a landlord or partner with a landlord, partner with someone that's already got properties. If you're an investor already and you have these properties and you're kind of, curious about this stuff, we've had landlords be up and running with full properties, again, cash flow and 10x within a few weeks, guys. So that's it in a nutshell. Today, we wanted to just kind of contrast the two strategies. We wanted to give you the real deal when it comes to investing in real estate, being a landlord. And there are some, it's not easy, right? It's not easy, but the group home business can be simple. As long as you have your management in place, a good house manager, you're screening your tenants well, this can be the solution to a lot of problems that come with traditional real estate. And then you heard Andy. Again, Andy, I want to reiterate, this was the group home business was your ticket out of the rat race, right? You got
That is what set me free.
yeah. So,
That is literally what set me free.
if you get your cash flow up, you grow this thing. Andy, you did about 6 or 7 properties in the first year, roughly,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then continue to do that. You probably slow down eventually, but once you grow this thing to 10, 15, 20 properties, then you're going to have that problem that you have too much cash sitting around. Then you can get into multifamilies, then you can get into rental properties and things like that if you want. You'll get a better return on just from the bank with your equity and stuff like that. But if you're looking for cash flow, you're trying to get out of the rat race. I want to reiterate, Andy, veteran. Again, we don't beat our chest that much, but hundreds of rental doors, correct?
Yes, multiple hundreds of rental properties.
If it's 2025, people are out there trying to get out of the rat race. They need cash
If
flow
you're
really
trying to
bad.
get out of the rat race, this is the single best, most cost-effective, affordable, and quickest way to do it. Again, it's a business, right? This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You are not buying a cryptocurrency that's going to go from 20 cents to a dollar, okay? This is an actual business that produces actual cash flows in your pocket that you can spend at the grocery store, on your mortgage payment, on your insurance, so on and so forth, each and every single month. It is a cash flow business, right? Which is one of the reasons I loved it, because it will set you free. And I would say, for all intents and purposes, you can have, if you're doing it on your own, you could set up an entire house for probably no more than $1,500 if you're being relatively resourceful. Again, no more than $1,500. And you can have that thing up and going within 2 months, generating $2,500. I do not know a single other business that you can set up for about $1,500, as long as you're willing to put in the time, the energy, and effort, and have a perpetual annuity stream of $2,500 a month coming in for you within 2 months after that. I don't know of any. That's why I'm a big believer in it.
Yeah, look at this guy. So make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. We have a ton of interviews, successful stories with people that have gotten the gold course, they've gotten in the school group, they listen to what we say. You got people like Saeed that we told you the cash flow, right? So you break out the calculator and see the possibilities with this. Imagine doing this every single year, what your life would be like in 2, 3 years. Okay. Then you have the cash. You have that cash sitting around. Then you could get into multifamilies and stuff like that. But you need that ticket out of the rat race. And most likely you guys are listening to this. You're driven to help your community, but you also want financial freedom. It just might be the perfect business for you guys. So, if that resonates with you, if you are not a part of the free course, go sign up at grouphomeriches.com. We're going to answer those frequently asked questions that most people are just kind of fuzzy about, like licensing, systems you can put in place. How do you get paid? Do I need a license? Do I not? Right. So join the course. That's just free videos that are going to be emailed over to you over the next couple of days. And that's at grouphomeriches.com. Our school group is an absolute no-brainer if you're curious about it. It's only $10 a month. You get to network with over 2,000 people just like you on their path to group home riches. We got partnership opportunities. Me and Andy do a live Q&A every single month. You get to pick Andy's brain. We should be charging like $10,000 per month for that, guys. If Andy wanted to be this big superstar real estate guru, trust me, he could. Our school members get that for just $10 a month. Plus, you get a mastermind, 2,000 people working towards a common goal. It's an absolute no-brainer. So get in that school group. If you do think that the business is for you, you're ready to get started, you need a guide. That's where our gold course comes into play. Digital library with how-to guides, videos, sample material, contracts, everything you can think of, everything you're going to need. That's only $199. And then if you're wanting to pay for a shortcut, we have a couple of different coaching services for you. So that's it for the day, Andy. Not our
Awesome, man.
typical 2, 3 hour webinar. We just want to
Yeah.
give the folks kind of a contrast and show the different strategies, give them the real deal on everything. So with that, I'll put the links to everything that I spoke about in the description. You guys make sure to like, subscribe, drop us a comment, ask us questions. Our team is always getting back to people in those comments, and you guys can always email us as well. And with all that being said, Andy, I'll give the floor to you for last words.
Yeah, really no last words. I mean, I think if you're in the business right now of, looking for, something to supplement your income, or you're kind of just, again, like Brandon, you were saying, wanting to get out of the rat race, I would really, 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 really highly recommend listening to all of our podcasts and all of our YouTubes. Yeah, exploring setting up group homes. I mean, it definitely needs to be the right fit for you. It's not the right fit for everybody. A lot of people are looking for get rich quick schemes. This is definitely not that, but it's a cash flow machine. And if you eventually use those cash flows to start purchasing real estate, it truly can be not necessarily a get rich quick scheme, but a get rich for sure business. So we've got thousands and thousands and thousands of clients that have been doing this, that we interview. And again, I would go out and I would listen to all of them.
And not a get rich quick scheme, but a get rich plan.
Yeah, get rich for sure plan. Exactly. Especially if you use it to start buying the real estate and paying it off.
Beautiful. All right, man. Well, we'll wrap it up there, guys. If you have any questions, again, reach out to us. Sign up for the free material, bare minimum. And if this sounds like the perfect business for you, we are here to help, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you, Andy.
Cool. Thank you.